Not only that, bro, you're telling me that the fire burned in such a way that it created a bikini for it? That wouldn't be a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just that, what does that have to do with the anime? He deflected a nuclear bomb? I have this pretty interesting video, the fan service one. I kind of want to watch this. Let's watch this. It's doing really well too.
Fanservice.
Gosh, what the?
Fanservice. Fanservice. Anyone who's watched anime has heard of it before. We all know what it is. If you clicked on this video just because the thumbnail had boobs in it, you've probably seen it before. Because you're a degenerate. Using just the basic definition of the term, fanservice is anything included in a work of fiction solely to try and please the audience, specifically without contributing anything to the plot or media other than making the fans happy. Now, there are many different ways this can show up. It would be impossible for you to have consumed media before without seeing some form of fan service. It might be a cameo or reference in a movie, a character getting more screen time because of their popularity, a gratuitous action scene, or a horror movie with tons of gore. Even an encore at a concert would broadly be considered fan service. But by far, the most common form of fan service is the sexual kind. And I would say even more specifically, the anime kind. Because while the term still has that broader definition, most of the time you'll hear the words fan service, it'll be in reference to an anime with tons of lewd imagery. Skimpy outfits, bouncing breasts, panty shots, wardrobe malfunctions. How does that even happen? While media outside of anime and manga still include tons of sexual content, from shirtless dudes to bikini-clad women to the entire male cast of Game of Thrones penises, most of the time anime is still the only place you'll hear that sexualization referred to as fan service.
It's just that there's so much of it. Like, we've had to well, not we, because I'm not a part of it like that, but I think that there's just so much of it that there needed to be a term coined for it, because it's just ridiculous. Like in that one anime, what's it called? Am I Dress Up Darling? Oh man, that's one of the reasons why I couldn't even watch that anime, because it's just too much. I'm like, dude, like, come on, man. Like I'm sick of it. Stop. I don't want to watch no fan service. I want to watch an interesting plot. I want to watch interesting character designs. That's why I want to watch anime. Not because I want to go in there and watch it's just, I don't know what it is, man. It's just annoying. You know what else too? I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. Let me show you guys. No Game, No Life. This anime was so difficult to watch because this little girl right here. Oh, look. Oh, no, actually, I'm not going to even show that. I mean, there's nothing there, but still, like. But this little girl right here, like, she's 11. And they're performing fan service with an 11-year-old. It was so hard to watch, dude. It wasn't so hard to watch, it was very uncomfortable. It was really, really uncomfortable for me to like sit there and be like, damn, I'm watching this, and like there's like this 11-year-old that's like doing a fan service. But what made everything interesting was the what do you call it? The storyline. The storyline was pretty awesome, although like it was so unrealistic. I mean, these two are geniuses here. These two are geniuses. They're playing games, and the way they play them is just so interesting. Like I would watch the second part, but still, dude, like it's kind of it makes you very uncomfortable to be there and to watch it. I don't know, man. And that's another reason why I didn't do so well. No Game, No Life. If you actually take a look at the Wikipedia, there's like this section right here about its controversy, like publication conception. Where is it at? Anime adaptation. Where is it at? Reception. Here it is. It was reported in May 2017 that over 3 million copies of the light novels are in circulation. The same year, No Game No Life was a top 10 selling novel series of several starting in let me see. Where is it? Anime series saw similar success as home videos. It was one of the top recorded animes. The 4 editors. Nothing has made me okay, let's see. I think this is the part. Had 4 editors review the first episode of anime. Carl, I don't know these people. Opinions summarized. Kim Linger enjoyed the premise and the concepts of the game as battles. Silverman and Martin disliked the characters. Chapman expressed absolute disdain, writing, "Nothing has made me roll my eyes, gag, or feel more irrationally angry this season than this insulting self-insert pandering trash heap." continue the series and published a positive review for the anime. He wrote that the premise presented many flaws but were balanced out by other aspects. Sora and Shiro, overpowered hero. Yeah, like Mary Sue, Gary Stu. Like, I'm telling you, like, it's just so unrealistic. Archetype is balanced out by their flawed lifestyles, motives, and their invisible delight in crushing their enemies. Dola's mistreatment with gags and Sora Shiro growing respect towards her, and the harem aspect with Sora's apathy, interesting female character. Where is it? Wrote the oversaturation art style will be an acquired taste for most viewers. Dude, the style was awesome. I like the style. This is what the style. I don't want to put it because it's too much fan service. I don't want to show you guys. You guys are just gonna have to, you know, view it yourself. The reviewer had mixed feelings towards the harem aspect and sexual humor, and agreed with Kotaku's dislike for the fan service featuring Shiro. Yeah, it's unnecessary, bro. Like, all of that was so unnecessary. You didn't have to like do that with like. This is Shiro, by the way, which is the 11-year-old girl. Like, they didn't have to do all that. They could have just. It would have been an awesome plot if like they didn't add all that stupid fan service. It's so annoying, man.
And this is all widely regarded as a negative to the medium. Many people hate it unconditionally, and most people have some complicated opinion about it, as you can even see from this poll I ran on my channel.
Wait a minute, bro. You can't just show that for like a split second and not talk about it as much.
Some complicated opinion about it, as you can even see.
How do you feel about the fan service anime, specifically the lewd "oops, I slipped and all my clothes fell off and also my boob is in your hand" kind of? I hate that. Fuck, I hate that shit. I want to make a video talking about ecchi fan service in anime. Don't know the exact angle I want to. You know what, bro? We could just go to his like. Where is it at? Here it is. How do you feel about fan service anime, specifically the loot? Okay, whatever. I want to make a video talking about each ecchi fan service in anime. Don't know the exact angle I want to take though, so I want to hear your thoughts on it. Let me know your opinions on fan service and any shows that you had strong opinions on lewd elements of. Some other ideas I'd love to hear opinions on or get some extra info about. The craziest fan service in anime, I think No Game No Life, at least for me, that's what it is. The history of fan service, where did it come from? Why is it so common? When is fan service good? Could it be good sometimes? When is fan service not okay? Let me see. How old is Shiro from No Game No Life? Shiro is the main female protagonist of No Game No Life series, in the calm, calculative half of the sibling abandoned by her parents. Shiro's 11-year-old shut-in gamer who, along with her stepbrother Sora from blank or whatever. But the point is that she's 11 years old. Yeah, it's annoying, dude. That whole part of the fan service is so annoying. Anyways, any and all answers you might have or link videos talking about similar subjects are appreciated. Also, thank you for all the support on the Chainsaw Man video. I'm glad so many of you enjoyed it and my transition back to anime videos in general. So let's see. 15 people like it. I don't like fan service. I like fan service when it fits the show, isn't intrusive. That's a good yeah, that could be good. But let's see, I don't really care about fan service. I personally don't care about fan service. I don't like fan service except for a few specific shows. I don't like any fan service. No, actually, I don't like any fan service at all. Oh, okay. Wait, actually, I like this one. Yeah, this one fits me more. If the show requires it, then yeah, it's cool. But like when you just put it in there for no reason, it's so annoying, man. All right, let's go.
From this poll I ran on my channel, the term itself is negative and often used as a criticism of a piece of media. Oh, I liked this show, but it has too much fan service in it. So let's take a deep dive into the world of fan service. Where did it come from? Why is it so common despite being hated? And is there such thing as good fan service? Also, it should go without saying that this video will have tons of sexy anime girls and even a few guys. So if you're not into that sort of thing, or you're my dad, then I might suggest clicking off the video now. Now, to cover why fan service is so common, or at least my best guess, what better place to start than its history? After all, it wouldn't be a Lextorious video without an unnecessary amount of research. And as it turns out, the first recorded piece of media meant to pander to the audience with sex was a French film named Menina la Fille sans voix, or...
Can I see something really quick? How does fan service affect women? Okay, so this is Quora, so it's not really, it's just more of an opinion. Because every single time I think of fan service, I think about, like, I know how it affects men. It makes men like a little, it makes them objectify a girl a little more every time they see stuff like that. But how does it affect women? I feel like with women, they get like this distorted view about what a female body is supposed to look like. But there's nothing. Especially for younger female fans, is emotional fan service or more admirable? Huh. They don't have anything, so I guess there's no point in
Menina, the girl without sails. I hope I got that pronunciation right. I only took French in school for like 9 years. The film featured the character of Menina, a woman in a bikini, which at the time of release in 1952 was considered very risque for American audiences. And so when the movie was released in America, it was of course renamed to Menina, the girl in the bikini, even though Menina does not show up or wear a bikini until almost 2/3 of the way through the film. And none of this has anything to do with anime. I just think it's really interesting to talk about because the sexualization of women to pander to a male audience has existed for such a long time, entirely separate to the anime community. But the first ever anime to include pandering of the sexual variety was a little series called Cutie Honey. Cutie Honey was a magical girl shonen manga originally created in 1973 by Go Nagai. It featured the titular character, Honey Kisaragi, having to transform from a Catholic schoolgirl into a magical superhero to defeat villains and save the world. The sexual element of the story then comes from Cutie Honey's design being a busty anime girl, as well as the fact that she loses all her clothes for part of her transformation. This brief nudity, as well as most of the show's plot, actually came from a retooling early in development, where it was originally intended as a shoujo series, meaning meant for girls, before they failed to make the time slot, and had to change into a shonen series, meaning meant for boys, to be aired. The shoujo version of the series didn't actually contain any PG material, but with the change in audience, the show's creator decided to add nudity and more violence in order to pander to the male audience, and thus, fan service in anime was born. And fun fact, Cutie Honey is credited as the first shonen anime with a female protagonist. So, girl power, I guess. Though Cutie Honey did end up becoming a very popular franchise. Through the years, the show had its original anime spawn tons of spin-offs and sequels, including a live-action movie and tie-in show directed by Hideaki Anno, creator of Neon Genesis Evangelion. And let's actually talk about Anno for a second, because he is a key piece in the history of fanservice. While anime and manga, especially in the magical girl genre, followed in the footsteps of Cutie Honey, pursuing more and more overt nudity and sexualization, it was actually Anno's studio Gainax that further pushed the envelope. Because before Gainax was officially created in 1984, the founders actually started off creating fan films for the Japanese sci-fi convention Daikon in 1981. Their studio was originally called Daikon Film, and the first animations they premiered were called Daikon 3 and 4, named after the third and fourth convention they premiered at. The fan films are what you would expect of an animation group formed entirely of college students attending a sci-fi convention, featuring everything from a mech battle between Macross characters and Godzilla to a lightsaber fight between an anime girl and Darth Vader, all to the soundtrack of one of the James Bond films, as well as an Electric Light Orchestra song. More important than the blatant copyright infringement, however, was Daikon 4's appropriation of the Playboy bunny suit on its main character, as this was a very skimpy outfit at the time, which would go on to be a staple of sexy anime girls everywhere. And once Gainax officially formed from the members of Daikon Film, they would take the sexualization to all of their future works. The first major influence of Gainax was actually Hideaki Anno's directorial debut, Gunbuster, in 1988.
How long is this video? There, let's talk about why it's popular. I don't really need to know who the rise of Gainax. I don't know.
And it's by the mid-90s that fanservice just became an integral part of anime as a whole, an inseparable part of the culture that exists and thrives to this day. So here is where I'll...
By the way, if you guys want to watch the whole thing, it's a deep dive into anime fan service.
Break away from the timeline a bit to explore the question of why. Why is fan service so popular? Why did it continue to grow from 1998 to where it is today?
Oh my fuck. This is the anime I'm talking about. I hate this anime, dude. I couldn't even get past the first episode because it was just so stupid. It was so dumb. Look at this, bro. Like, this is, if I remember correctly, this is happening all at school. Think about it, bro. If a principal walks in on this girl doing this, what do you think is gonna happen? Because this guy has every right to be scared. Because, like I said, if that principal walks into this room, this guy is probably going to be facing some sexual misconduct charge or whatever the case is. I don't know, man. And then imagine, bro, like she's supposed to be like the most popular girl at school, and then what do you think all her friends are going to say if she gets caught coming out of a classroom in a bikini? Come on, man.
All right, next question. I mean, shonen is by far the most popular genre of anime to exist, and it literally just translates to boys comic. Its only defining trait is that it's a genre made for teenage boys, and what could they love more than boobs?
That's so stupid. Fuck, man. That shit gets me mad because I'm thinking like, bro, like, is that all we are? This is all we are? We just like women's breasts? That's it? I don't know, man. That shit's low-key annoying. I feel objectified, honestly. Like, I don't know about anybody else, but that's how I feel. Maybe I'm being a soy boy. I don't know. But I really do feel like that's a problem, dude. And then not to mention the fact that when, like, women watch this, I'm pretty sure a girl's already probably thinking to herself, like, damn, how can I get like that? Or how can I be like that? Because you got to remember, girls want to be just like women they see on TV. And when they see this shit, what do you think they're thinking?
Well, how about today's sponsor, NordVPN? This market is to nobody's sponsor of more than... That would have been a sick transition, though, you got to admit. Ever since the Cutie Honey anime transitioned from a...
Bro, I was already, like, skipping you, bro. Like, no, wouldn't have.
Shoujo time slot to a shonen time slot and decided that nude power-ups would be exciting, it was game over. If your primary market is teenage boys, of course you're going to push the envelope into softcore porn territory as hard and fast as possible. It's literally free money, especially when the majority of Japan's young men are overworked and single, with 50% of Japanese males at age 20 saying they never had a girlfriend. Needless to say, there is a...
I have a theory as to why that is the case. I feel that the reason why that's the case is because of what they see on TV. If you really think about it, bro, when you see a girl like Marin from My Dress Up Darling, who's that girl that you just saw right now, I feel like you tend to like have like this inorganic idea of what a girl is supposed to be like, or what is she supposed to look like. And so you try to desperately search for a girl like that when you're probably never going to find a girl like that. That is not how a real girl looks. That is not how a real girl acts either. This girl acts like you know how she acted when she first met this guy in a classroom. She undressed herself all the way down to a bikini. Bro, who does that, man? Like, what girl's gonna do that? You know what I mean? I don't know, dude. It's just like I would at least get comfortable with the person before stripping my clothes off. I don't know, dude. Like, it's stuff like that. So it kind of like poisons the mind of a young man. Because if you really look at it, I think that let me see. What demographic? What gender demographic? Gender demographic is more popular with anime? I think that's how you can ask the question. Men. In 2020 survey conducted in the United States found that anime movies were generally more popular among men than women, with 13% male respondents reporting that they found anime to be very favorable compared to the 9% of women who said the same. What percentage of anime viewers are male? After removing participants that did not complete a majority of questions, the present data includes 2,852 anime fans, 72.2% male. So it's mostly male dominated then. Anime manga target all ages and social groups. They encompass all genres, science fiction. Look, I like the science ones. I like fiction. I like fantasy. I like action adventure. I like romance. I like the romance animes. They're pretty cool too. Humor and sports. Okay, so yeah, like I guess it's just mostly male dominated, and I guess that's it's. I would like to say that it's me. I'm sorry that I'm doing I did an ISO speed video, so that's why this is all here. But yeah, it's. I feel like this distorts the mind of a young man, and I think that's why there's so many like people out there. Like I don't know if you guys have heard of like the whole alpha male stuff, the whole alpha male movement, or the men's right movement and all that. Like you'll hear a lot of those guys talk about like stop watching you know the word prawn. I'm not gonna say the word because obviously because of YouTube guidelines, but anyways, yeah, you hear a lot of these guys say like stop watching women online and go get a woman out there in real life. I agree with that, bro. Like I think like so many men have like they haven't talked to a real woman in a long time because they see shit like this and think that this is what a woman is supposed to look like, which by the way, this highly objectifies women, and it makes men less likely to talk to a woman because they see, whenever they think of a woman, they probably think of Marin from My Dress Up Darling. I hate that anime, dude. I really do. I try to watch it just so I can talk about it, and I still can't do it, dude. Like I just can't get over the cringe. It's just too hard.
Massive audience in Japan of young men who desire sexual content, and animation studios are more than willing to cater to them. And that might be the biggest reason why fan service is so prominent in anime. While a lot of countries are just as open about sexuality and nudity in television, very few have the specific lonely male youth problem that Japan has. Plus, countries like the US are just so incredibly behind when it comes to openness for sexual content. You've got things like the Hays Code from 1934 to 1967, which banned nudity, suggestive clothing, and scenes of passion not integral to the plot, as well as massive pressure from religious groups to boycott any media that didn't uphold those good old-fashioned values on which we used to rely. That's such a fucking stupid line. I hate that line. Which all leads to America being effectively 30 years behind every other country when it comes to—
Okay, hang on a second, man. Let's see. What is how is Japan with the sexual assault? Because I want to see this. Harassment, a big problem. More than half of Japanese bearcats of both sexes have experienced some form of Figure rises 69.2% for women, according to the poll conducted in 2000 by the National Personal Authority between July and September. Okay. It's because I know that like if I type this, it's gonna give me probably some other country. Let me see. What countries? Let's see. Yeah, I knew it. Like it was gonna be these because they're less regulated. How can I ask this question to get a good answer? To Japan. According to the 2014 statistics, Japan incidences are astonishingly low, less than 1 incident per 100,000 people, in contrast to the almost 37 per. Oh wow, really? Okay, I'm gonna have to research this, dude, because this seems like this is gonna be very complicated. Let's see. Where's there it is. Okay, so in actually we'll leave this here. We'll leave this here. What the heck? Okay. Let's get back to it now. We don't need that. There we go.
To sexual content and is still struggling to catch up. This is a large reason why cartoons in the West still market themselves towards children, whereas anime in Japan markets to 15 to 25-year-olds and has no problem showing them titties. And so that whole long section is the history of fan service, or at least everything I know about it and think is interesting. But we still haven't covered why it's so controversial. I mean, it can't just be a case of indecency, because a lot of anime fans are in fact incredibly horny. I myself love big anime titties and ripped dudes. They're fantastic. But the problem lies more in how that sexuality is executed within the show. Referring back to the poll I ran, only 2% of people enjoyed fan service in all circumstances. 35% enjoyed it when it fit the show or wasn't intrusive, and 23% enjoyed it in select shows. So a combined 58% majority of people said that they enjoyed fan service in select shows, typically when it wasn't intrusive. The problem then is the shows where it is intrusive, where only 2% of people said that they still enjoyed it. So what is intrusive fan service? Well, to answer that question, I want to talk about an anime I just recently finished watching. It's called Fire Force, and anyone who's seen that show immediately knows where I'm going with this. Fire Force is a great show. It's a shonen anime about a world where people spontaneously turn into demons, and a special team of firefighters with pyrokinesis are tasked with taking them out. There is a lot more than that, including a group of villains they fight, but for the most part it's cool action scenes between people with fire powers. It's also animated by David Productions, the people who make JoJo, and carries over some of the insanely cool sound design they use for that show. However, there is a character in Fire Force called Tamaki. She's pretty cool, she's got fire cat powers, and it took me 6 episodes to realize that her and another character just named Maki were 2 different people. But far and away the most important thing about Tamaki, to both this video and her inclusion in the show, is that she has a special ability called the Lucky Lecher Lure, which I believe is meant to be a play on words in Japanese that got roughly translated into English, and basically means lucky pervert syndrome. In other words, she has a canonical power in the show, acknowledged by other characters, that puts her into lewd situations through bad luck. Here's an example of that. In almost every episode of the show, Tamaki will slip and fall and have her boob fall into a character's hand, or all of her clothes fly off, or something equally perverted. It is honestly insane how much the show is willing to bend reality in order to have someone accidentally molest this girl. And on the surface, her superpower is just a bit annoying, but it isn't critically negative to the anime. Fire Force is already an incredibly horny show and is willing to put every character in the nude at some point. Like, you remember Maki, that girl I talked about confusing Tamaki with? She's ripped. Oh, and what about the nun, Iris? Yes, they have a nun on the team. Surely nothing bad would ever happen to... Oh my god. I mean, what about a character whose only defining trait is that they are fully clothed head to toe? I mean, you can't even see her face with this thing up. What the fuck? The show even has a nude firefighter calendar episode just as an excuse to get all the characters naked. Oh, and I don't even mean the girls. It's the boys this time. The entirety of Fire Force is just horny, which is totally fine because that's just the tone of the show. But what does become a problem at some point is Tamaki, because she is sexualized to such a degree that the fan service becomes her only defining character trait. Not only does she get into unfortunate situations in every episode for no other reason than to give the audience a boner, but the fan service actively interferes with the plot and her character. Now, I'll try not to spoil anything, but Tamaki at some point ends up getting ambushed and beat up trying to protect some kids. She's not the best fighter and almost gets beat to death by a character she previously trusted, leaving her a bruised mess in the ground who our main character Shinra has to save. Tamaki looks up at Shinra, crying, begging him to save her because she's so emotionally overwhelmed at what's happening. He steps up like the hero he is and begins fighting the bad guy. And then this happens. Alright, well that just deflated every ounce of tension in the scene. And that's not even where it ends. Dude, what the fuck? What am I supposed to be feeling right now?
Yeah, seriously. Not only that, bro, you're telling me that the fire burned in such a way that it created a bikini for it? That is crazy, bro. Like, that is funny.
Because when you strategically burn all of her clothes off and have her do her cute little cat pose, I legitimately think you want me to feel horny looking at a character who was almost just beaten to death. And Tamaki continues to be in this weirdly erotic outfit for the rest of the fight. She even gives Shinra a serious emotional speech while looking like this. Again, do you want me to take this seriously? Because remove the sexualization from this scene and it's one of the most emotional in the show. The tonal whiplash is just hurting my head at this point. And while this scene in particular is the worst offender, Tamaki's entire character throughout the whole show continues to be like this. She doesn't win any serious fights, she doesn't have any big redeeming moments, she loses and gets beat up and saved by one of the big strong male characters over and over again. It takes her 2 entire seasons to even begin developing her character or suggest that she should be taken seriously. And even at the end of her first training, with all this music swelling and emotion building as she starts to be a competent character, her dumb pervert ability kicks in and deflates the whole scene again. Tamaki is the textbook definition of a fan service character. Her whole reason for existing within the show is a vehicle for sex jokes and horny moments. That's it. Any contribution to the plot or action she has is undermined by her sexualization.
Okay, and here's the thing, bro. That wouldn't that wouldn't be a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just that, what does that have to do with the anime? You know what I mean? And then when you just throw it in there, I don't know. You know what, man? Honestly, I'm not even so mad. I don't even know what to think anymore. I'm not even mad that she's like that's happening to her, because I feel like it's just so unbelievably ridiculous that I can't even be mad about that. So I guess with her, it's an exception. Fire Force, I'm not mad about that. I guess I would watch that anime and not have a problem with it, because now going into this anime, like, I mean, you know, we already have like that idea that she's gonna do all that, so I'm not mad about that. what I am mad about is how people say that, like with My Dress Up Darlie, how that's like grounded on reality, when the reality is that it's not, dude. Like no girl acts like that, and the fact that like it's always just, I don't know. You know what, man? I don't even know. I don't even care anymore. What's the point if this isn't even gonna change? Like I could talk about this all one, and it's not gonna change. All I can say is that just be careful. Don't watch this, okay? Because if you watch it, you're gonna have a distorted idea of what a woman is, and you're less likely to go and talk to a woman if you do that. I know, because as a man myself, I've like I hate that phrase, as a man myself. Oh my gosh, here I am saying it. When I look at that, I tend to like a character like that, and I want to look for somebody in real life just like a character in an anime. And every single time there's a girl that passes by, I don't even say anything. Now I tell girls like, hey, excuse me, you're really cute. I go up to them and talk to them and just say, hey, you're really cute. That's it. End it now. When I was watching anime, I wasn't doing all that. You know why? Because I was thinking to myself like, hey, you know what? I know I'm going to find a girl like this. I know one day I'm going to find somebody like this, and I don't want to talk to any girl because I don't want to spoil the moment that I find this. I don't want to ruin my chances of finding somebody like this. That's how I was thinking. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that.
The exclusive moment that might be the best moment in the whole show, including the time a guy deflected a nuclear bomb.
What? All right, now I'm mad. I'm mad. I was upset. Now I'm mad. He deflected a nuclear bomb? Fuck you.
So to set up some context, the bad guys...
Fuck you. Oh my gosh, man. Satire at its finest. He deflected a nuclear bomb.
Guys in Fire Force also have fire powers. Big shocker, I know. And during a confrontation against these bad guys in season 1, Tamaki and the nun Iris end up against a guy named Assault. Please don't ask why there's nuns in this show. You already know the answer to that. Assault is hyped up beforehand and shown to be an incredibly powerful character. He attacks the girls, nearly kills them, and then this happens.
Dude, oh my god, I hate these animes, dude. I swear to god, I hate these animes. I don't even know what to say to this, dude. And I like it too, how, bro, you know what's crazy? All of these girls are super overly hyper sexualized, and then all of the guys, they always act like they don't care. That is so unrealistic, man.
As it turns out, Assault is a virgin, and even touching a girl just completely debilitates him, which Iris and
What? Dude, that is, oh my gosh, man. I cannot believe they did it. They did it, man. They actually came out with a character that when like he interacts sexually with a girl, he's debilitated. I cannot believe what I am listening to. This is far beyond my scope of comprehension. I'm not even kidding.
Tamaki used to their advantage to just beat him to death with a lead pipe. It's a great subversion of tropes, an incredibly funny scene, and it's not even the one I'm talking about.
No, hey, that was funny and that was clever, dude. I love this scene. Oh my god. That is hilarious, dude. Oh my gosh, man.
Because much later, near the end of season 2, Assault recovers from having his brains bashed out and challenges Tamaki to a rematch. And the show goes through his training arc, where he locks himself inside his room and watches porn for a month straight in order to get over.
Oh my gosh. Dude, what is this? What is this?
For his incredible horniness. They then have their rematch, and this happens. That is amazing. I love how they went 110% on the sound design of Tamaki falling like that. It's probably the single funniest shot in the whole show, and Assault just fucking passes out after it. This, to me, is what the fan service in Fire Force could be. It's funny, tonally consistent, and contributes to the plot of the show.
Dude, that would have been such a great anime to have a guy just be so debilitated by like the sexual behavior of females. You know, that'll be a cool anime. I will actually watch it. And that's what I'm talking about when I say, listen, the fan service fits the show. Animes that just throw that shit in there is so annoying, dude. But that would be a great anime, and I would actually watch it just because there's a lot of unexplored comedy in that area, and I think it'll be pretty cool, dude. But you already know how anime is, dude. Like, it's just a bunch of stupid shit. Anyways, this was a pretty funny scene, dude. Like, I would watch that again. I'm probably gonna look for the original clip and I'm gonna watch it all. Like that is just so funny, man.
If all of the major fan service moments were saved for scenes like this, I would love it.
Yeah.
But they end up spilling out into the serious moments of the show and clashing way too hard to be enjoyable.
Oh, and I like that too. I like how like every anime character is like super like powerful to the point where like they have to demonstrate their power using a finger. And every single time they use a finger to demonstrate their power, you just have like this comprehension of like, oh my god, this guy is so unbelievably powerful. How are they ever gonna stop this guy? Well, I mean, you know, plot armor is a thing, so.
In the bigger picture, I don't think fan service itself is bad. While some people might object to it just on the basis of being too lewd, that isn't really the problem. I mean, if you're not okay seeing boobs in a show where a villain literally explodes a guy, that seems like a you problem. Fan service, more often than not, lightens up the mood of whatever it's put in. It will deflate the tension, it will overshadow the seriousness, it will, if done incorrectly, clash with any serious tone you're going for.
Yeah, like like in that anime, don't toy with Miss Nagatoro. This anime has fan service in it, but I feel like the fan service fits it. It fits it perfectly. Maybe not perfectly, but it fits it. It goes well with the story. And in most other ones, like it doesn't, man. And that's where like the problem arises for me.
You can certainly put fan service like Fire Force's into comedic scenes because sex jokes work very well. You can put it into lighthearted scenes because it adds levity, but there are just some types of scenes that fan service like this should not be a part of. And the worst fan service elements in anime, the ones that turn people against it entirely, are when it's put into those types of scenes anyway. You'll have a dramatic or serious conversation punctuated by a middle school titty joke. It just isn't given the same level of maturity as the rest of the elements in the show, because to a lot of people, including its creators, fan service is still childish and immature by its very nature. Discussing the history and definition of the term, we know that fan service isn't added to a show for the same reason that the other elements are. It's to excite 15-year-old boys. It's to please the audience. It's to service the fans. So it's almost always put in with way less thought than any other element of the show. And that just doesn't work. Again, I have no problem with Tamaki vs. Assault because the whole premise is absurd. And I wouldn't have a problem with Tamaki's weird cat cry if they hadn't chose to be immature at a serious moment. Just keep her in her regular outfit, which is already very fan servicey. It just blends in better because it has reason to exist. Going off of that, you can have entire shows crammed full of fan service that are still done well because they know how to use it. Just look at Food Wars for an example of this. Food Wars is a cooking show. The entire plot is a kid who's good at cooking goes to enter a competition to be the best cook. Standard anime plot. Pretty much just a shonen story, but with cooking battles instead of anime fights. But the entire appeal of the show is its fan service, because every time someone eats a good dish in Food Wars, well, this happens. That happens every time. The food in this show gives people orgasms. That's just how it works. Is that a stupid premise? Yes. Is this show basically a hentai without the nudity? Also yes. But it isn't hiding any of that. Food Wars doesn't hide much of anything, actually. Food Wars wears its fan service on its sleeve. It is very open about being so sexual. And because it's a comedy, using busty women and ripped dudes in unexpected situations just blends right in seamlessly. The show uses every opportunity to make sex jokes or horny food scenes or ridiculous moments driven by hentai logic. And it will get every character naked to achieve this. Girls have food orgasms, guys have food orgasms, the main character has food orgasms, old men have food orgasms. The mechanic is treated entirely equally, which makes it even funnier when it happens to someone unexpected, not just all the hot girls. This equality also dissuades any idea that any specific character just exists for their sexiness. When every character on the show is sexualized, then none of them have to exist purely for eye candy. They can all be functioning characters because the show has no shortage of characters to draw horniness out of.
I don't know, man. Listen, if I watch an anime and like that like sound comes in like dude, that would make me like kind of embarrassed to be watching it. I don't know, that's just me though.
And to top it off, the food orgasms even serve the plot, surprisingly enough. Because with an animated show about food, it can be very hard to show the audience how something might taste. We can see the delicious food, but how can we know what it's like to eat? Well, how about showing the person eating it nutting their brains out while describing the food like it's sex? That's not only a very convincing way to relay how good it is to the audience, but also a built-in set piece in the same way that special moves in shonen fights are. It's an excuse to go over the top.
Oh my
and add
gosh, dude, I don't want to watch that. Oh my God.
Excitement and crazy animation to something that in real life isn't that interesting to watch. And so even though Food Wars has way more fan service than a show like Fire Force could even dream of, none of it ever comes across negative like it does with Tamaki, because it's tonally consistent with the whole show, because the whole show doesn't take itself that seriously. Food Wars is one of the few shows that can achieve this sacred title of good fan service, almost entirely because it understands how to blend it in and make it work for the show. It isn't just a cooking show with nudity slapped in, the fan service is a critical element. And so before we wrap up this discussion of fan service, I want to cover just one more show, because it would be a disservice to the entire video to not cover it. But before I do, let's jump back into the history of Gainax, because I didn't quite finish telling the story. With the release of Neon Genesis Evangelion, which went on to be one of the biggest anime
Fall of Gainax, you guys can watch that. I'm not gonna watch that. The problem was fan service. I want to watch this.
Description. Study of Soul. Use of fan service, I'd highly recommend this 4-part video series on Kill la Kill by Study of Swords. It goes into a lot more depth than I could, so I'll link it in the description. So with this video, I think I've looked at every possible angle I could cover fan service in anime from. We've looked at its history, where it came from, and why it's so popular. And we've seen some bad and great examples to help us understand if it can be used well or not. And hopefully this all highlights the complexity of the topic. Fan service might just be boobs and butts and horny manga authors on the surface, but it can be so much more than that. And like any element in a piece of media, its inclusion and how it's used are very important. Because there are a lot of shows that do not use fan service well at all. They have characters that just exist to get the audience horny, or awful intrusive bits that deflate the whole scene. Pandering beach episodes, or characters getting perved on, or a girl slipping and falling pussy first onto the main character's face. or just characters that are clearly not adults getting sexualized. Like, I am of the firm belief that you should just mentally increase the age of any anime character by like 3 years because it'll make the show better. Ain't no way that Okabe, this scruffy looking college dude, is meant to be 18. This man is clearly like 25. But hey, sometimes these are just children you're showing me. That is a fucking child. I don't care if age is just a number. That number is 911. You should be in fucking prison.
We got him.
I don't think fan service will ever go away. And I think instead of people complaining online about this has too much or this show is ruined because of it, we should instead ask ourselves, how could it be done better? It's fine to include adult content and sexuality, you just have to include it in a good way. You know, make sure the fan service fits the story and its characters. If you want to be lighthearted, add all the sex jokes and pervy moments you want, but if you want to be serious and dark, get the boob jokes the fuck away from there. Or just make the whole tone of the show adult so no single character feels like their inclusion is just for eye candy. Include adult themes or nudity into the plot, or include it in the storytelling in some way. If you're already gonna show me bouncing boobs, you can at least make them feel not out of place. I don't want the show feeling like it's made for 12-year-olds up until the moment you show me softcore porn. Nobody was about to recommend interspecies reviewers before they saw a titty. What that tells me is that the fan service about to recommend
Oh my gosh, that is insane. Dude, no, man. Look, you look at this girl. There's no way this girl's living her best life with boobs that big, dude. No way, man. Those things must be heavy. Her back must be hurting. She probably can't even sleep properly at night. Dude, this sucks, man. No way she's smiling in this.
Species reviewers before they saw a titty. What that tells me is that the fan service doesn't fit. It feels out of place in the show. You've got to match the level of maturity, or else don't consider putting the fan service in there in the first place. And I think on the other side of this, a lot of people in the anime community need to stop being so immature when it comes to this stuff. It can be pretty insane the amount of mental gymnastics people pull to try and convince themselves that titties in television are inherently shameful. This anime is trash and so am I argument people make to try and infer that every show with nudity in it is dumb male pandering is awful. I hate it. Because no, just the process of showing skin does not preclude an anime from being good or enjoyable for other reasons or even intellectual. It just means that it showed skin. That's it. A show can be thoughtful and engaging and full of deeper meaning and also show nudity, and those two elements can exist entirely separate from one another. I think the anime community really needs to look into fan service if we want shows to improve, because the main thing I see holding it back right now is the collective immaturity that we have towards it. People on both the creators and the viewer side still treat nudity and sexual content with way less thought than it deserves, which leads to these elements never being able to be explored or expanded on fully more than the childish ways they're used in shows like Fire Force. All fan service and sexuality and nudity are, at the end of the day, are elements to a story. And like every other element, you can use them better and make them more enjoyable. You can fit them in and give them importance, and you can make them a positive part of the experience, not an inherently negative one. You just have to put some thought into it. So instead of turning away shows just because they have fan service, think of how easily we could be recommending them because they have good fan service. I mean, who doesn't like anime boobs?
Bro, I don't know, man. Like, people recommended what do you call it, My Dress Up Darling, and then when I watched it I was like, are you serious? People are like recommending this? Like, this is bad. I don't know, dude. Like, I think to each his own, honestly.
Thank you so much for watching. Funnily enough, this video started as a short comedic script before I turned it into this full-length video essay on anime titties.
That's funny. What's the name of that song? That song sounded cool. Just how do you... How doesn't he put the name of the song? Unless he made it. Yo, what an insane video, man. So where do I stand with all of this? I don't mind it, okay? I start to mind it when it's you know what, dude? Honestly, why am I even giving an opinion about this? Like honestly, like the way I see it, dude, I have a problem not just with fan service, but I think with almost anything in an anime. Like if it's just not grounding on reality, like I just start to like just shoot on it. I don't know. I think if there's creativity behind it, I can get behind it, but most times like I'm just like, dude, are you like when I was watching Dragon Ball Super, oh my gosh, dude, like I was just like, bro, how is it that Universe 7 is performing way better than every other universe? You know, stuff like that. Just so dumb. Fan service. I really liked the video. The video was actually pretty great. I expected it to be a meme, but you were very critical, and though with the undertones of it, very thorough with undertones of it. I'm saying 100% agree about Tamaki. Almost quit the show over her first pervert scene. Yeah, dude, I quit the show for My Dress Up Darling almost immediately when I saw that unrealistic scene where she just like gets undressed and puts the dude like at risk for like, you know, sexual misconduct. I don't know. When I say misconduct, no, not misconduct, but at a potential sexual harassment or something. I don't know, dude. There was just something there. I was just very uncomfortable with it, honestly. The real takeaway from this video is the beginning of the Lex Storius sitting in the couch arc. The sheer audacity of this man. I was 10 minutes in and thought, okay, but that was a good summary. But then the video just kept going. I know, dude. I was like that too. I was like, I thought this was just gonna be a 10-minute video. I wish they would talk about like what this does to like. But then again, like many women aren't really watching. But still, I would just kind of talk about that. How the women feel. I really think that there's like damaging effects when it comes to like women in anime. Glad I got to watch this before it gets age restricted left in my so actually a great video that I watched Kill la Kill and just thought that it was a fan service anime and nothing more. But seeing it in the light of female empowerment really does make me love the show even more. Kill la Kill? I don't even want to. I was gonna search it up, but I'm like, you know, I'm gonna do it. Actually, you know what? I could do it right here. Let me see. What is it? Kill la Kill. Oh, is this anime? I actually like the character design. I like the design of this character. It's pretty cool. That was actually one of the reasons why I was gonna watch this anime, but I never got around to it because I really like the design of this character. Thought it was pretty cool. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys.